Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo Buddhaya. Homage to the Triple Gem, homage to Bada Banteji, Kasapa Banteji, and all the Sangha. I welcome all of you, dear venerable monks and Upasakas and Upasikas, all those who have come here. And also I welcome very heartily all the online participants of comprehensive course on Buddhism. This is another Dhamma day, another Dhamma gathering. So many of you have come here seeking the Dhamma, spending time in this Vihara. Vihara is the place of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. And it is the place for learning the Dhamma. So when you have come here to learn the Dhamma, and those who are online, many of you are online, who are wishing to know the Dhamma, because at least one initial understanding has started. The understanding of life, understanding of the aim in the life, what we should do, what is this life, how to live a peaceful and happy life, how to overcome sufferings. And many of you have come to the Dhamma seeking wisdom, pure wisdom. Oh, there is something more to understand. And some of you are quite clear. That's why you have taken refuge again and again in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. When you have very clear goal that I also have to become enlightened, then you take refuge in the Buddha, because Lord Buddha is the supreme model or symbol of enlightenment. Dhamma, the path to enlightenment. Sangha, guide to enlightenment. Oh, what a blessed people we are. We have this triple gem to go for refuge, and this triple gem to guide us throughout till the last point of enlightenment, Bodhi. So this is something very amazing gift we have all got in our lives. So my dears, with this understanding, with this clear understanding of triple gem and why we go for refuge, and Trisarana, that Trisarana is there, then the Panchashila, the path of enlightenment is Shila, Samadhi and Panya. So you undertake this Panchashila to walk on this path. So with this clear understanding, you may take the Trisarana and Panchashila. Now I request Pankajji to welcome. You can welcome to the comprehensive course and lead the Trisarana and Panchashila for the information of people here. So Pankajji, over to you.
Namo Buddhaya. And I welcome all the students of comprehensive course on Buddhism. As usual, before we start our session, I will be making up a Kshama Yachna on behalf of all of you. So I request all the participants to please hold your hands wherever you are and join in making the request. Vandami Bhante.
इधर भी दिखाने से स्क्रीन में दिखा
Okasa Vandami Bhante Dvaratayena Maya Kattam Sabba Paradham Khamatu me Bhante Dutiyam Piyokasa Vandami Bhante Dvaratayena Maya Kattam Sabba Paradham Khamatu me Bhante Tatiyam Piyokasa Vandami Bhante Dvaratayena Maya Kattam Sabba Paradham Khamatu me Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much, Bhante. I wanted to share that we are continuing with our new topic that we started since yesterday, the way to a fortunate rebirth. This is week 8, session 2, and our topic today is Shila, moral precepts and Uposatha observances. Our teacher today is Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhicitta.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. I pay my humble salutation at the lotus feet of the Buddha, to the sublime Dhamma, to the holy Sangha. I pay my respect to most respected Bara Bhante Ji, Kasaba Bhante Ji, and all the Bhikkhu Sangha present here, all the Samaneras and Anagarikas, and all the Upasakas and Upasikas gathered here, and those who are online. I give metta to all of you. So once again, we meet today for another Dhamma session, Dhamma discussion. It is a very good and auspicious moment coming together, trying to develop our wisdom with the Dhamma by the listening of the Dhamma, discussion of the Dhamma. So it is a training and practice on the spiritual path, spiritual journey in the Buddha Sasana. So the subject of the discourse today is moral precepts and Uposatha observance. So to start that, first I will start with a sutta, trying to know the importance of the practicing of the sila, the moral virtue. So the sutta is Jata Sutta. In this sutta, once when the Buddha was staying at Savatthi Jetavana monastery, at that time one Deva, he at the night time he came to the Buddha and asked a question in Pali that Anto jata bahi jata jatiya jatita paja tang tang go tama puchami ko imang vijataye jatanti. In English, that Deva asked that. In English, the meaning is the inner tangle and the outer tangle. This generation is entangled in a tangle. So this question, who succeeds in disentangling this tangle? It means that Anto Jata, the beings in all the universe, all the beings, all the human beings and devas and all beings in this world are totally entangled in the worldly desires, worldly defilements. They are totally entangled like the hairs, matted hairs. No, they used to keep the hairs, matted hair locks, totally entangled. Or you may see, taking the example of a thread. That thread, when it is not very well kept, it is totally entangled, very difficult to disentangle. Or like a wire, cable or a wire, or a very practical example you can see like your earphone. No? So disentangle. So that Deva asked that the beings are totally entangled with so many mental defilements like greed, hatred, delusion, lust, and jealousy, envy, and all kinds of these defilements. They are entangled from inside, antojata, bahijata. So that Deva asked that, Tang Tang Gotama Puchami, O Gotama, O Lord Gotama, now I ask you, who is the person who succeeds in disentangling, who succeeds in free from disentangles? It means that what kind of beings, what kind of person who can free from these defilements, this entangle of defilements? Then the Buddha answers that, Sile patithaya naro sapanyo chittang panyancha bhavaye athapi nipako bhikkhu so imang vijataye jatanti. Buddha answers that when a wise man establishes well in virtue, develops consciousness and understanding, then as a bhikkhu ardent and sagacious, he succeeds in disentangling this tangle. Yeah, the Buddha says that a wise person, first of all, sile patithaya, having established himself in virtue, means the moral virtue, having practiced good character, having maintaining the good character, and then he develops the understanding, panya. It means that Buddha is referring to the sila, samadhi, and panya. Starting from establishing oneself from sila, practicing the sila, keeping the moral virtue, the precepts, and then developing and cleaning own mind, and then developing the panya, vipassana jnana. So that is the person who disentangle himself from this tangle, and he free from all kinds of worldly suffering and from the cycle of birth and death and rebirth. So that the Buddha answered. So now, what is this virtue? Let us first try to understand that what is this virtue. Virtue starts from bringing and the presence of the good mental volition, chetana, having good chetana to maintain one's conduct, bodily conduct and verbal conduct. So that is the training in the Buddhism. All the teaching of the Buddha in the Sutta Pitaka, Vinaya Pitaka, Sutta Pitaka, or Abhidhamma Pitaka, and all the 84,000 Dhammakhandas, all the suttas, all the Vinayas, all the teaching of the Buddha. The summary of the teaching is only 3 for training: Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. Sila, morality, keeping good precept. Samadhi, practicing meditation, cleaning your mind. And Panya, developing the wisdom. So Sila is the foundation of the training in the Buddha's teaching. So in what sense this Sila, this is the Sila? So first, knowing what is the Sila, for the lay people, Lord Buddha gave 5 principles, 5 kind of Sila. Panatipata, Veramani, Adinnadana, Veramani, Kame Sumichachara, Veramani, Musavada, Veramani, Surameraya, Veramani. Abstinence not to abstaining from killing, abstain from stealing, abstain from sexual misconduct, abstaining from lying, abstaining from taking alcoholic drinks, uh, drugs, and that which confuses our mind. So these are the 5 kinds of sila, the basic sila for the lay people. So there are many other different higher sila to the commitment and dedication that a person can give, but the minimum basic sila given by the Buddha is this Panchasila. So now this 5 sila, this conduct, in what sense is this virtue? So it is said that in the first sense, it is called samadhana. Samadhana means non-inconsistency, means maintaining good bodily action and verbal action. So when you practice this Panchasila, the 5 moral precepts, after going for 3-4 refuse, you took the Panchasila. So when you practice the Panchasila, in first sense, samadhana means you maintain a good bodily action and verbal action. You are free from blame of other people. Whatever bodily you do, verbally you speak, you are free from blame, and it is pure conduct. So that is samadhana. And in another sense, it is called adhara. It serves as the foundation for profitable states. It means it gives a foundation for a good life. You grow in life, in material prosperity, mental prosperity, and even after passing away, after dying, one can be reborn, one can get good rebirth and be reborn in the heavenly world. So it is called as adhara. And it is also considered as sira, the head. Sila is considered as the head, like our head in our body. No? It is the top, and we consider as high. So those person who is practicing the sila, they are regarded as the higher person, as the good person. No? Now you come to monastery, you pay respect to the monks, you listen from the monks, pay salutation to the monks, and you pay salutation to the triple gem fast, you pay salutation to the monks. Why? Because of the sila. The monks are practicing the 10 silas, and higher, the bhikkhus are practicing the higher silas. So practicing virtue is also called as sira, the head, the higher. And then it is also considered as sitala. Sitala is cool. Sitala means cool. That which cools down our mind. You see, a person who breaks the Panchasila, for example, a person kills or harms other living beings, a person steals, tell lies, do sexual misconduct, take drugs and alcoholic drinks. So what happened to that person? His mind is always burning with hatred, with greediness, with lust, with the confusion of the mind. But when one practices the sila, his mind becomes cool. His mind is always at peace. So that is another sense of the virtue, another quality of the virtue. Now, what are the benefits of practicing the virtue? Virtue, Panchasila, what benefits you get in your life? So Buddha says that the practicing this Panchasila is the very, you can say, it is not something, a kind of divine rule or divine principle. It is the very practical thing of our life, not to harm other people, not to steal other things, not to tell lies. These are very practical things that is necessary and needed to live a good life, a harmonious life with other people, with our neighbors, in our society. And it is also considered as the very basic qualification of a human being. What differentiates us human being from the animals? It is the virtue, good conduct. We have body and mind, and we practice the good conduct, develop this basic foundation of sila. So it makes us a better human, a good human. Okay. So now what are the benefits of the virtue? The first and foremost benefit of the virtue is, it is called anavajja sukha. In Mangala Sutta, Buddha said that anavajjani kammani etang mangalamuttamang. How does one get blessing in one's life? Anavajjani kammani, by maintaining a conduct, by maintaining a moral virtue, free from remorse, free from blame. So when one practices a good conduct, good manner, the first benefit he get is the free from remorse, anavajja sukha. He doesn't have any kinds of remorse and regrets in his life. So, and his mind is always at peacefulness, always at easy, always comfortably. So that is the first and foremost benefit of the. And then in Mahaparinibbana Sutta, we find a Dhamma that the Buddha taught in a village called Pataligama. So when the Buddha was staying in the village of Pataligama, at the time the villagers of Pataligama, they gathered near the Buddha at evening, and they paid respect to the Buddha. And there the Buddha gave the discourse saying that householders, there are 5 perils, 5 sufferings that comes of having bad morality, of not maintaining the 5 precepts. You know the 5 precepts. So when one doesn't practice or have bad morality, bad virtue, bad conduct, bad bodily and verbal conduct, so 5 perils come to his life. So what are they? Number 1 is, in the first place, he suffers great loss of property through neglecting his affairs. So the first perils is that he suffers loss of property, because when he doesn't practice the sila, he doesn't care, and he neglects his job and his works and his affairs. So he lost the property. So he becomes he lost property, he becomes poor, he lost his relatives and all those things. So like that, he falls in his life. So in the second place, he gets bad reputation for immorality and misconduct. So the second peril is that he gets bad reputation wherever he goes. Other people see, other people know about him that, oh, this person, such and such person, this person is a killer, this person is a thief, is a liar, is an alcoholic person, a druggist, or something like that. So his reputation becomes bad. So that is the second peril. And the third peril is, in the third place, whatever assembly he approaches, whether of Khattiyas, Brahmins, householders, or ascetics, he does so diffidently and shyly. So in whatever groups or whatever community he lives, whether it be a Khattiya community, whether it be a Brahmin community, whether it be a group of ascetics, whether it be a group of householders, whether in the family, in the village, or in apartment, or in society, wherever he lives, whenever he go and meet other people, he goes there shyly. So because he has bad morality, he does something wrong. So when one does something wrong, breaking the sila, so he is always shameful of himself. and shameful of going and meeting other people in the society. So that is the third peril. And the fourth peril is that in the fourth place, when he dies in confusion. So in his lifetime, he has not practiced the sila, having bad morality. So in dying time, he dies with a very confused mind, with a mind uh, having so much of defilements and so much of regrets in his mind. So when he dies in a bad way, in a confused way. So that is the fourth peril. And in the fifth one, the fifth peril is that after breaking off of the body, after dying, he arises and reborn in an evil state, a bad fate, in suffering and hell. So when he dies, after dying, after passing away, he is reborn in hell, or even in human world. If he is reborn as a poor, or as some bodily defect, or in a bad state, in a bad place, in a bad country, in a bad family. So like that, that is the fifth peril of the bad morality. So that is the 5 disadvantages, 5 perils of having the bad morality. So then the Buddha says that, oh householders, there are 5 advantages of having good morality. So opposite to that, opposite to the peril, in the first place, the advantages is that after having careful attention to his affairs, he gains much merit. Those who practice the sila, so he do his work properly. Therefore, he put effort, and he after making effort and doing his work properly, he gains much merit, much wealth, more and more relatives, friends, and wealth, and he can enjoy his life after practicing the sila. And in the second place, he gets good reputation for morality and good conduct. So wherever he go, wherever he live, he has good reputation. Or this person, or such and such person is a very good person, is a virtuous person. So that is the second advantage. And the third advantage is that in whatever assembly he goes, whether of Khatyas, Brahmins, householders, or ascetics, he goes there with much confidence, with proud and assurance. So that is the third advantage. And the fourth is that when he dies, when the death time comes to him, he dies with a very calm and peaceful mind. And in the fifth place, after dying, he is reborn in heaven, and he is reborn even in as a human birth. He is reborn in rich family, in good family, wherever there is dhamma, and wherever he can get all the material and mental prosperity in life. So Buddha said, householders, so these are the 5 perils and 5 advantages of bad and good morality. So that's why in your life, you must practice the Panchasila and maintain good conduct, so that you can grow in Dhamma and live a good present life, and also you can attain a good next life. So then, now after now we know that the benefits and the loss, that the suffering, the perils that come from the virtue. So the next thing is that there are different grades of virtue. Okay, now we practice the virtue, we practice the sila, but there may be different purposes of practicing the Panchasila. Here, I would say the 3 grades of virtue that we find in Buddha's teaching. That the first grade of virtue, the first type of virtue is the virtue of an ordinary worldly people. It is that those who are practicing virtue, they are maintaining good conduct, but not for the supramundane path, not for Magga Phala, not for attaining the Nibbana, just to maintain a good conduct, just to stay happy and just to maintain his good name and fame. So that is a ordinary and worldly virtue, that is considered as ordinary and worldly virtue. Then in the second grade of virtue is the virtue of a noble worldly. Again, it is worldly people, but he practices virtue to clean his mind and to attain, to get a good rebirth, or to get a good life, to get a good rebirth, to have a good family, to have a good life, and after passing away, to attain a heavenly life, to be reborn in the heaven. So that is, can say that that second grade of virtue, noble worldly virtue, but it is also a worldly. That is also, we have to understand that it is impermanent. Our life, even if you reborn in the heaven, that is a not permanent solution. So the highest grade of virtue is that practicing sila for the attainment of nibbana, for the cleaning of the mind and the destruction of craving. So that is the highest grade of virtue, the sila. So you can see that this practicing of sila, samadhi, and panya. Sila is, it is, you can say it is another name of the Noble Eightfold Path. In the Noble Eightfold Path, what is the Noble Eightfold Path? It is sila, samadhi, and panya. So in the Noble Eightfold Path, sila, we can find that right speech, right action, and right livelihood. So that is the sila. Okay, so we know the basic things of the sila. So now the different types of sila. So first, for the lay people, Buddha gave Pancha Sila, but that is only not enough for the spiritual practice. So if you can find time, if you can give more dedication, then it is suggested and recommended to take the Atta Sila, the Uposatha Sila, which is also called as Uposatha Sila, a special Uposatha observance. Okay, so whenever you get time, whenever you can give more dedication to the Dhamma, so as much convenience, one should take the Uposatha Sila. Now, what is the Uposatha? Uposatha is the special observance in the full moon days and in the new moon days, that one take special the 8 precepts, additional another 3 precepts to the Panchasila. So what are the 8 precepts and what is the Uposatha? So in a sutta called Uposatha Sutta, we get this sutta explained by the Buddha in the Uposatha Sutta. So this sutta starts like that once the Buddha was staying at Anathapindika's monastery near Savatthi in Jetavana monastery. At that time, Lord Buddha assembled all the bhikkhus, and Lord Buddha gave the Dhamma that, O monks, Uposatha is comprised of 8 factors which the Aryan disciple observes, the observation of which brings glorious and radiant fruit and benefit. So because what are the Uposatha that is observed by the Aryan disciple, by the noble disciples? What are the Uposathas that is observed by the noble disciples? So number 1, the first one is that all arahants, for as long as life lasts, having given up the intentional taking of life panatipata, having given up club and sword, having laid down sword and club, they have shame of doing evil and are compassionate towards all beings. So all of you have given up the intentional taking of life, having put down all weapons. In this manner, you will be known as having followed the Arahants, and the Uposatha will have been observed by you. So the first one is that Panatipata Vedamani, giving up the killing and harming other beings. And in the second ones, all Arahants and noble person of the past have given up that which is obstacle to the Brahma fearing, Abrahmacharya, giving up the sensuality, the sexuality, and they have practiced the Brahmacharya life, a celibacy life. So as long as you practice, that is the Uposatha practice. And in the fourth one, all Arahants for as long as life lasts have given up telling lies, musawada. They utter only the truth and are intent on the truth. Their speech is firm and composed of reason. Their speech does not waver from that which is a mainstay for the world. So as long as you tell truth and remain in truthfulness, so that is the fourth factor of the Uposatha. And the fifth one is that all Arahants and all the noble ones of the past have given up taking liquors and intoxicant alcoholic drinks. As long as you abstain from taking alcoholic drinks, so that is the fifth factor of the Uposatha. And that is the Panchasila. And the sixth one, the special Uposatha observant is because as long all Arahants of the past, as long as their life lasts, eat at one time only and do not partake of the food in the evening, means taking food at the right time. And this taking of the food is, the timing of the food is considered in two ways. That is Pure Bhatta and Pacha Bhatta. Means Pure Bhatta is taking food before midday, and Pacha Bhatta taking food after midday. So one must take, when one takes the Uposatha Sila, one must take food before the midday. So that is the sixth Sila. And the seventh one is that all Arahants have given up singing and dancing and playing of musical instrument and watching of entertainments and bedecking themselves with flowers, ornaments, and perfume. So that is the seventh factor of the Uposatha. And the eighth one is that all the Arahants of the past have given up lying and using high beds and comfortable beds and using comfortable things, which is called as Uchasayana and Mahasayana. So living a simple life, as long as you live a simple and the renunciate life, so that is the eighth factor of the Uposatha. So in this way, Lord Buddha explained about the Uposatha observance. So in Buddhist tradition, what we do is that as a lay person, so you don't get time, so much time for the whole 24 hours time, whole week time for the Dhamma practice. So the basic Panchasila you maintain in your daily life, but whenever you get chance, whenever you get opportunity, a special opportunity, you must try to take this Uposatha Atthanga Sila, dedicating more practice, more time for the development of your mind and progress in the Buddha's training of Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. So the next thing is, let us know that what is what is the procedure and how can one take, how should one take the Panchasila and Atthasila? Okay, now you know the Panchasila for daily practice, Atthasila for Uposatha observances, and then there is Dasasila for monks, and there are 227 rules of conduct, Patimokkha rules for bhikkhus. So these are different kinds of, different types of sila. For lay people, Panchasila and Atthasila. So as much time you get in your life, in your daily life. So to take the Panchasila, the first Panchasila and Atthasila, the first thing that you should do is that first, if you can find monks, if you can go to the monks, first of all, take a good bath and wear a possible in Buddhist, according to the Buddhist tradition, in Buddhist custom, people usually wear white cloth and putting one shawl or a scarf on their shoulders. They go to the monastery with some candles and flowers and some offerings to the monastery, go to the monastery, offer flowers to the Buddha, and then after saluting, after meeting one monk, after saluting to the monk, first of all, asking for the Khamayachana. It is very important to do Khamayachana at first. Khamayachana is to ask for forgiveness for whatever wrong you may have done in your life, whether knowingly or unknowingly. So in the Khamayachana means asking for forgiveness. It is like an acceptance of your mistake and try to clean your mind, a kind of confession. So you go to the monk and do Khamayachana and recite that and say that, oh Bhante, whatever wrong I have done, bodily, verbally, or mentally, please forgive me, and I will be more mindful in my practice. I will be more mindful and more awareness in my practice. So then when you make confession, when you might make confession for your mistake, maybe knowingly or unknowingly you may have done mistake. So when you do confession, your minds becomes free from regret. Your minds become clean at that time, and you are ready to take the sila, and you are ready to give more dedication to the Dhamma practice. So that is very important to do the Khamayachana at beginning, at starting. And then after that, taking the Tisarana, going for refuge to the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha by saying Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. And then after that, you can take the Tisarana and Panchasila. But in some instances, if you cannot find monk, you can do by yourself also. And how you will do by yourself? In your house, there may be a Buddha statue, or you can put a Buddha photo. First of all, take a good bath, clean your body, because it is very important when you do some religious work, you clean your hand, you clean your body, because our body and mind is interdependent with each other. It affects each other. So if your body is unclean, you will not feel freshness in your mind also. That's why you clean your body, you take a good bath, you wear a good cloth, go in front of the statue of the Buddha, and a photo of the Buddha, pay respect, and do Khamayachana by yourself. And then you can take the Tisarana and Panchasila. And for the Uposatha observance, it is always good to come at the monastery and to take the Uposatha. After taking the this Uposatha Atanga Sila, you can stay in the monastery whole day. You can practice meditation. You can read Dhamma books and spend time with the monks, listening to the Dhamma. Usually, listening to the Dhamma and doing discussion of the Dhamma is a most appropriate time to spend in the monastery. So if you are taking the Uposatha Sila once in a full moon day or in the new moon day. Especially Uposatha are considered 2 days in a month, the full moon day and the new moon day. So in these 2 days, at least if you can find time, if you can dedicate this 2 days for Dhamma practice, you can come to monastery, take the Sila, or otherwise whenever in whatever day you get free time to take the Ashta Sila, the Eightfold the Sila, there you can take in your house by yourself also in front of the Buddha. So these are the method and procedure of taking the Sila. So some people ask question that is it possible to take by yourself? Yes, you can take Sila by yourself, and you can take any time, whether in the morning, afternoon, and evening, anytime you can take. But it is always good to take in the morning, because whole day mindfully you can practice the Sila. So this point, you please keep in your mind. Practice the Sila for the highest goal, for the highest attainment of the Nibbana, for the purification of the mind. So when one practices the Sila, it helps in our Samadhi for the development of the mind. So, and the Samadhi, it helps for the awakening of the Panya. So I wish that may all of you be able to understand the Sila properly, be able to develop the Sila in your life, walking on the path of the Buddha's teaching and practicing a good bodily, verbally, and mental conduct. May you develop in the Dhamma, may you grow in the Dhamma and attain the final liberation of Nibbana.
Thank you very much, Bhante, for a wonderful Dhamma Desana today, and we are grateful for your Dhamma Dana, Bhante. Bhante, we have for question and answer, Bhante. Can we take a few questions, Bhante? So, Bhante, the first question comes under related to Brahmacharya Veramani, Bhante, and or a Kame Sumechachara Veramani, whether it's Panchasila or Atthasila. So, what things are counted as misconduct or not following Kame Sumechachara or a Brahmacharya?
You see, they are different with each other. When say the Kami Sumichachara, so that is the basic practice of the lay people to practice the Panchasila. So the Sila of Kami Sumichachara, it allows the lay people to live a normal lay life as a husband and wife and like that. But when one takes a special Sila of Uposatha Sila, so he takes it as Abrahmacharya. It means like living as a monk. So when one takes Uposatha Sila, so he has to totally avoid any kinds of this sexual or sensual activities and live as a monk, so as much he can dedicate. So that is the difference of between Kame Sumichachara and Abrahmacharya. So Abrahmacharya is living like a celibacy monk life, and this with the Kame Sumichachara Sila, as a lay people also one can live. So the wrong misconduct is that apart from the couples or husband or wife, if that person, if he or she doing other misconduct, so other affairs or something like that, so that will be considered as Kame Sumichachara.
Thank you very much, Bhante. And Bhante, your next question is related to the 8th Shila that we have talked about, Bhante, related to giving up on the higher sleeping or platforms that we use. So how should we follow that Shila, Bhante? Ucca Sayana Mahasayana, Bhante.
Ucca Sayana Mahasayana, 8th one.
Yes, should we just sleep on mattresses, or should we sleep on just the mat, or how should we follow that Srila Bhante?
So that is referring, the eighth one, that is referring to the comfortable life. You see some people as a lay person using so comfortable beds, pillows, and all the comfortable things in the house, and this thing. So that practicing Uchasana Mahasana is that just whatever minimum and whatever simple it is necessary for to sleep, to have a good sleep. You can sleep on the bed, but very simple bed. And in earlier times, monks used to take more severe practice. They sleep on the ground, they sleep on the mat only. So that shows the renunciation. So that is the practice to do the renunciation and live with whatever minimum necessary.
Bhante, if you allow me, can I take one more, Bhante? This may be important for related to Vikala Bhojana, Bhante.
Okay.
So this question is related to, Bhante, that when we are doing Attha Sila or Uposatha day, we are saying Vikala Bhojana Veramani, and that means we are supposed to take our meal before midday. But is it okay to take meals after midday for any medicinal purposes or anything like that, Bhante? Or the second part of this is what all food would be allowed to take after midday on Uposatha day?
So in this sila, you see, if you are taking the Uposatha sila, means, of course, the first thing you have to consider is the food. So you are taking for one day, so you will be aware that you can't, according to the sila, it is like a fasting. No, in other religion also you can find it. It is like a kind of fasting. So you, according to the sila, you can take only before the midday. Before the midday, that is called Pure Bhatta Sila. So you take before midday, but after midday, in any circumstances, you can take the food, but for some medicinal purpose, you can take some juice, or there is some allowable things like chatumadu or something like that. But if some people are having some health issues or have to take some heavy medicine, it is better that for that time not to take the Uposatha Sila and remain with the Panchasila only. But if he's going to take the Attha Sila, he has to keep in the mind that he can take the food. But to take some light medicine, one can take juice, or one can take some jaggery or like that chatumadu, that is allowable, but not the food.
Thank you very much, Bhante. With that, I pass it on to Bhante Ananda for taking up the proceedings further, Bhante. And one more, we are grateful for your Dhamma Desna and enlightening all the participants for the Uposatha day, Bhante. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bodhichitta Bhanteji and Pankajji, for wonderful organization of this program and the Dhamma talk. In this, earning lot of merits. Thank you very much. May you be happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.